Well, good morning, everybody. It's cold morning this morning. Nice, beautiful sky. About 41 degrees, probably 5-6 mile an hour breeze. We're just out here making sure all the lights are working. And yeah, lights are all working. Top lights are working. We do got to get it registered though. I didn't realize that. We could have done that yesterday. We'll get her on Tuesday when the town office is open. But we got to make one trip with it today. Not the end of the world. But yeah, safety chains are all hooked. We're ready to go. So anyway, actually it's not going to be full, but it's just enough that it's going to more than fill the pickup bed. So we had to pull this out of the building so I could have a place to put that B, because that's the spot it was in. And yeah, it's gonna be all right. I got that damn radio on. They'll flag my video here if I ain't careful. But anyway, yeah, so we'll fill her up, and you'll get to see here what we're delivering here in a few minutes. Just basically pansies and snapdragons. And hopefully it's not as windy as yesterday. They wanted them yesterday, but the wind was blowing 25 to 30 miles an hour, and they don't have any protection down where we were taking them. So we decided that we erred on the side of caution and didn't take them down to them, because then, you know, they never, I mean, we're going to Rennie's. I mean, it's no big secret, but they don't have a place to put them really. And I mean, they're always good. They treat us excellent, but we just are trying to save them some money. You know, we don't want stuff to get broke on them. So anyway, yeah, I'll bring it back in a little bit and show you what stuff looks like. We put that lettuce right there out. It took a beating yesterday. Let me shut this truck off. But yeah, we put the lettuce out yesterday morning. And I mean, you know, it'll toughen up. But boy, it took a beating. It almost looks like it's got a frost on it from last night. But she'll come right out of it. Even if the outside leaves die, the eye will come right back. And you know, this stuff here will turn red in a few days. This red sails. It needs to have red cold to make it red. But anyway, I'll bring you back in a few. Well, I was going to show you the back of the trailer there when I got it loaded, but there was some people showed up. We weren't really open yet, but they showed up. And anyway, I just got out of there. But I got to tell you this funny story about the farm there. So years ago, we mainly did wholesale. And we always had the retail open, but you know, we were in kind of an odd piece of road, and we never had that much traffic. Not until about 15 years ago, and all of a sudden it was getting to where people were parking on the side of the road. But before that, we always had a driveway where you had to drive in, turn around, drive out the same driveway. And these guys would swing in there not realizing it was, you know, a one-way in. You had to turn with these bass boats. I mean, some of these bass boats were probably $40,000 bass boats, you know. Great big pickups. They'd walk in, get out, all like a big deal. They'd go to leave and they couldn't back up the bass boat, because you had to back at 90 degrees on the offside where you couldn't see. And they'd frig around out there, and Carol, she'd get irritated with them. She'd walk out, she'd say, if you get out of that for a second, I can turn that for you. Now, I'll tell you, she probably did it to 20 men over the years. And you talk about guys swallowing their pride, stepping out. They'd be just frustrated that they would get out. Carol, she'd whip that right in first try, drive it ahead, put it in park, and get out. And, you know, just go back to what she was doing. You know, she's no farm girl from way back. Carol can back a trailer as good as I can. And, yeah, it's kind of funny, you know, when you get a girl that's 55, 60 years old, you know, and these young bucks that are 35, 40 got their great big bass boats, you know, and they think they're all that. The old lady comes out, backs it around for them, hands them the truck back. Just kind of a funny story about Carol. Another quick one. We was headed to Cool Spring, Pennsylvania one year with a bunch of thermoils, and I'd been driving most of it. We got down on Route 80. I was tired. About 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I always like a nap, you know, so I says to Carol, I said, why don't you get behind the wheel here and run it for a while? She says, yeah. Well, I usually run along, you know, 73, so 75. So Carol, she gets behind the wheel there, and I can't remember if we had a trailer on back or not that particular year. There was a few years we hauled a trailer down, but we had the 1 ton. And she picks it right up about 82, 83 miles an hour, and down the road we go. And I'm sitting there, and every now and then I'd open up my eyes and I'd see traffic going by in the slow lane. And I could see these guys, we went by them, and they had engines on. I says to Carol, I said, well, they're going to Cool Spring. She says, yeah. We went right by them. Just hammer down. So, anyway, we get to the show. We've been there about an hour or so, and this guy comes walking along, and he says, wow, he says, were you the one shoeing that truck? Carol says, yeah, down through Pennsylvania. And he gets on his knees and he bows to her. He says, man, he said, I couldn't keep up with you. He says, you're driving too fast for me. He says, my hat's off to you. He says, the way you drive. I think we must have had a trailer on back, because she was hammered down. If she'd the guy wouldn't have thought nothing of it if we were just in a 1 ton empty. And yeah, but it was funnier than heck though, how that guy, he got right on his knees and bowed to her, you know, like she was some great god. Carol laughed on that. She didn't think nothing of it, you know, that's just how she is. She gets in, does her business, and that's that. But I just thought I'd talk for a minute here while we was traveling. We're going down Route 114, heading to Sebago Lake Station. Sebago Lake Station's actually in Standish. So I was much as 15, 16 years old before I realized that it was actually not in the town of Sebago, because my father always called it Sebago Lake Station. And I just assumed it was in the town of Sebago. Well, it's all in Standish. You know, we've been in Standish here for 10 minutes already. And but they call it Sebago Lake Station because there used to be a railroad station right on the beach down here, right on the edge of Sebago Lake. So all the locals for years, I don't know, now they call it Standish Corner, I believe, but I'm not really sure. But it's in Standish. And, you know, the older people, if you mention Sebago Lake Station, they'll know right where you're talking. The younger people won't have a clue. But anyway, we'll be there in a few minutes. I'll take a little video of the intersection. It's kind of weird. It's a 4-way intersection. So anyway, when I turned this camera off, I was only about a mile back, and when I started talking, telling stories there, I was about a half a mile out of the town of Sebago. So it's not that far down here, probably 7 miles or so from the Sebago town line. But this right here is what they call Sebago Lake Station. 4-way light, which 99% of the time it works fine. If everybody pays attention who gets there first. But then again, you got some people, they don't understand it and it frigs it all up. But right over there to the left, you can see that road, that's Sebago Lake. And that's where the train station used to be. So this road right here is only about, I don't know what it is, 6, 7 miles long. Goes over to the intersection of Route 302. Goes by Sebago Lake, Portland Water District pumping station. I've always wished I could get in, do a video of the pumping station, but they won't let anybody in there unless you're an employee. And I don't know if they'd let you do a video anyway, even if you were an employee. Stuff's pretty top secret. So yeah, so there's the big lake. I've said it in other videos, that's the second biggest lake in the state of Maine. I believe it's 17 miles long or 16 point something, and it's around 7 something wide. And I believe it's the deepest lake in the state, maybe. I think it's 365 feet deep at the deepest. Pretty big piece of water. Biggest lake in the state is Moosehead Lake, and that's a big lake. That's much as 100 miles to drive around it. I don't know the real stats on it, but I know it's big. So they put in a little scenic overlook right here. Of course, they're letting the pine trees grow up. They'll be all grown up. You won't be able to see nothing here in 5 years. You know, that's how they do stuff. They'll spend $200,000 or $300,000, you know, making a parking area, and then no way to keep the other side from eroding unless it's got trees on it. Of course, Portland Water District, they're all about the trees around the lake, and so they'll probably let it grow back up to forest, and it'll just be a parking lot there for people to raise hell in. But that's normal procedure. Anyway, we're going down Route 35 here, headed towards Windham, and some Jeeps going. They're gonna go on a little tour today, I'd say. Maybe go through a little mud. Pretty nice looking ones though. Usually the guys that do the real thrashing around, they usually run, you know, less than perfect Jeeps. But anyway, I'll bring you back here when we get down to Windham. 439 for gas. Let's see if we can get through the light. This light isn't that long. I was showing you the gas station instead of paying attention. I guess we're gonna make it. $429.9, so that's $430. Yeah, so this is the big town of Windham. When I was a kid, there was still some little farmhouses along here and a few places that weren't developed, but not so anymore. It's just people, and lots of them. This 302 corridor, the gas here is about 20 cents more expensive than anywhere else in the state. They just flog the people. But that's all right. People love it, I guess. They buy it all the time. So we're gonna go right in here to the big store of Rennie's. Guy's coming out the middle of the road. There he goes. He's setting over a little. So yeah, we made it safe and sound. Guys still haven't picked up their plow gear sitting over there by the woods. I don't think they'll need it again though. Yeah, so it looks to me like they got a bunch of chairs out here in the way, so we'll have to find out where they want stuff. I guess we'll park it and walk in and see what they want to do. Anyway, I'll bring you back in a while. We'll, ran over the curbing. Oh well. Anyway, I'll be back in a bit. Now there's nobody looking right now. We'll show you what we brought. We brought these nice little pansies, snaps. Got these beauties right here we brought, dropped off. And that's all the load was, small load. But anyway, you know, it all adds up. They'll get bigger loads next week.